Welcome back to my channel. I'm Gail, and today we're going to be doing my mid-year check-in for 2024. So I'm really excited to do this. I've read so many more books than I usually do for half of the year so far, so I'm really excited. Some are still kind of just begun, but it's also ending. It's weird. So I'm really powering through, hoping to read so many more books, and I've been speed reading a lot, so I'm excited to keep going and to start doing that. Okay, so let's get this started. So I'm going to start off with some questions, and then I'll do my full review of what I've read so far with their ratings. Okay, the best book that I've read so far. Okay, so that's between two books, because I fell in love with two books this year. So the first book is Prettiest by Lauren Roberts. This book is just, it's so amazing. I haven't read like a YA romance that has given me all the feels so far. Like, everything is usually adult, but it's so refreshing to read something that's very YA-ish that just makes my heart pound. Just the banter. The reason I love this book is the banter. Like, the banter is what makes it a 5-star. It's really like this new take on Hunger Games, and it's like Hunger Games but give it an actual amazing love story, you know? Not that the Hunger Games love story wasn't great, but this is just on another level, and I can't believe that she's so young and she's written this amazing book, and that this is her first book, and it's just a knockout of the park. I'm just so proud of her for this, and this book is such a recommendation. I'm absolutely obsessed. This is for sure one of my favorite books of the year. The other one I don't have in person, I need to buy in person, like it is a necessity, is North Queen by Nicola Tish. Oh my god, I can't stop mentally thinking about this book. Like, every time I look at somebody, I'm like, you want my new book recommendation that's not for Figure Powerless? It's North Queen. That, I did not expect that to be the amazing book that it is. I bought it for like $2.99 on my Kindle. It's worth $1 million. Like, that book, oh my god. The banter. It is the greatest love triangle I have ever read. Because for once, I literally cannot pick a side. Because both sides are just so incredible. There's plot twist after plot twist. I still have so many questions. The world is so well built because it has these fantasy aspects to it, but it's not completely fantasy either. So you're not thinking about the fantasy stuff as much because you're really into like this royalty aspect, and you're just so into it, and it's just, that book I binged so fast. It's a thick book, but I binged it so fast, like I did for Fourth Wing, and I couldn't stop talking about it. You can literally ask all my friends. I did not shut up about this book. I won't shut up about this book. I need to buy this book and continue this series. Like, I really recommend. It's so underhyped. Like, all the series that I love, like Fourth Wing is not underhyped, Powerless is not underhyped. Like, they get the recognition they deserve. North Queen, no one I know has ever read that book. People, you need to start hyping this up. It is so good. So those are for sure my two favorite books of this year so far. Prettiest cover of this year. Well, I can't really pick between these two books because they're so different, but they're really gorgeous. So the first one is Anatomy by Dana Schwartz. Like, this cover. Look at this cover, please. Like, I love this. It's so gorgeous, the illusion cover that it's the heart and it's actually her sitting in this beautiful dress. Like, it really works. It's beautiful maiden, and guess what? She wants to be someone who's doing open heart surgery in the 1800s. It's great, and it perfectly encapsulates what the book is with such simplicity. I think this cover is so perfect for it. The writing is so perfect for this gothic style that the writing is. Like, this cover really encapsulates the book, and it's just so gorgeous to look at. The other one is Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. The colors, the drawing of this person looks like she's real, but she's not. It's just so gorgeous. And the other thing I hate is the sticker, the non-peelable sticker. That really annoys me. So if I look past it, like, I'll just cover it. If I look past it, it's gorgeous. I love the colors. It perfectly encapsulates, like, this is what your main character is going to look like. these are the things that it's kind of rolling around her arms if you have trouble picturing it. And it's so gorgeous. Like, it's really gorgeous. Next, the new release I haven't read yet, but I want to. Reckless. I really, really want to read Reckless. I know it just came out, but I need to read it. Like, it's a necessity. After I finished reading Powerless, I was like, I can't wait for Reckless to come out. And now that it's finally out, I have to move my butt and go buy it in person because I'm not waiting for it to come in an Amazon delivery because I don't want to. I honestly should have done that because it would have come here by now, but whatever. My biggest surprise. I have to say my biggest surprise is probably with the 2 French books that I read this year. So I include the books that I read for class because I read them fully, and usually some books I end up really loving for class and some I end up really hating, but most of the books I'm reading for class is literature, so I count it personally in my reading because I don't usually read more than 2 books for my class, so I feel it's worth counting. So the 2 books that I read for my French class really surprised me. So they're both plays that are written, and they're both so amazing. Like, these plays are really, I want everyone to know about it. So they're 2 Quebec authors. So this one is Rose et la Machine by Maud Le Rondeau, and this is so amazing. Like, this is my favorite school read of the year, my favorite French book that I've read in so long. It really got with me because it's about autism and it's about difficulties in the medical system, which I extraordinarily relate to. So having this and reading this really profoundly impacted me, and I loved writing about it every single time. And like, I've been recommending it to every single person who wants to read about these subjects or just wants a light French read, that this is absolutely perfect because it's so easy to read. Not only because it's small, but it's because she really knows how to capture the audience's attention in a book. Like, it's exactly what you would say on stage, but she writes it in a way that you can read it like a book. It's perfect. And then the other one was Jeune Hydro, Christine Beaulieu. So this one's about Hydro-Québec and about, like, is what they're doing actually okay? Like, are we saving money by using this, or are we actually not saving money and damaging stuff? So it was so interesting. It's so well written. I for sure like the other one better, but this one was also really well written. I flew in it. Like, these books are really captivating, not because they're plays, but they're plays written in a way that you can read it effortlessly, like it's a book, like it's just a piece of literature, and it is a piece of literature, and it's really amazing. And I don't read enough plays, so I was really happy to read these 2, and I was really surprised by how much I liked them. My new favorite author, like, it's gonna be Lauren Roberts. Every other author I've kind of already read their stuff, so they're not really new to me. I'd love to just say Rebecca Yarros over and over and over again because she'll for sure be my favorite author forever and ever. But Lauren Roberts, I really love. Even just like looking at her at Instagram, the way she like carries herself is truly beautiful, and I really like it. And I love her writing style. She has a gorgeous writing style that's so refreshing. So, yes, if I'm gonna quote something, I'm gonna quote Powerless. So I think Lauren Roberts is my favorite new author. One book you must read by the end of the year. So the 2 books that I have 2 books that I really want to read by the end of the year. So I went to Boston and I went to Barnes & Noble and the Harvard Bookshop. So I bought 4 books in total. 2 were science books. So we're not going to talk about those because I'm sure you guys don't give a crap about astronomy. So these are the 2 books that I really want to read by the end of the year. So first off is the Atlas Complex, so I can finally finish the series off. But I have to share this because it's such a big flex. Guys, it's signed by Olivia Blake. Like, I can't. Wait, look, it's signed. I have a signed book by Olivia Blake. I'm fangirling for a moment. But like, the fact that I can touch this, I'm like, she touched it. Like, it makes me so happy. This was the only one left, so I was like, no, I'm getting this. Like, I have to get this. So I'm so happy to have this, and I'm so excited to finish this series off. The second book left me with so many questions, so I'm excited to read this and continue. It's so thick, though, with such small writing. I'm scared, but I'm ready to do this. I'm ready. And then the other one that I bought was the Naturals, because every time I go to Indigo here, it's never there. Like, the Natural series doesn't seem to exist in Indigo at all. None of the books are ever there. So when I saw this, I was like, we're getting it so I can finally start the series. I've been wanting to start the series for years. So finally to have the book, I can start it now. So I think this is probably going to be my weekend read. I'm going to start this, probably finish it in a day, because people say this is amazing. And it's also really short, and I know Jennifer Lynn Barnes' writing. It's so fast-paced. And so you like breeze through it in a couple of hours and you're done. So I'm really excited to read this. And yeah, so those are the two books that I need to finish because I really want to finish one series. I really want to start another one. So yeah, those for sure. One book you would like to reread and just bring these with me and hold them the entire time? What video do I go through that I don't talk about Fourth Wing? I'm sure I talked about Fourth Wing already in this video. How many times I talk about Fourth Wing? Honestly, I'm sure it's around 100. These bad boys. I'm rereading them before Onyx Storm comes out because I'm honestly so excited and so scared. Like, I'm so scared about Onyx Storm because, like, for people who read Fourth Wing, if you've seen it, did you see the stuff she's posting about, like, you're gonna cry? Who is she gonna kill? I'm so scared. Just please don't kill Rydick. Don't kill Rydick, don't kill Bonin, don't kill Garrick. Please, like, I can't stand it if it's them. If she kills Violet or Zayden, like, there's not gonna be the rest of the book. It's obviously not them. It's not gonna be Darna. If it's Terran, I'm gonna cry my life away. I don't think it's gonna be him. So, like, just, there's a lot of people that die, and I won't be able to physically stand it, or mentally stand it, if someone I love dies again. So, yeah. So, these two, we're gonna reread them. As you can see, I already reread Fourth Wing already, so I could annotate everything. Iron Flame, I started rereading now, so I can annotate everything. So you're gonna, I should add this. I reread this year. I read 26 books now this year. And now this will be my 27th, because I'm rereading this so I can annotate it. Because, honestly, the amount of times I pick up the book and I'm like, I just need to read my favorite quotes. And I'm like, wait, I didn't annotate it. The only books I've ever annotated are these. My reading goal. So my goal for this year was to read 40 books. So far I've read, well, it says 25, but 26, and then 27. So technically I have read 26 books out of the 40. So I'm over 60% in. I'm about 4 books ahead of schedule for the goals. So I'm really happy with myself that I'm reading this much, and again, really excited to like keep storming through the pages and to just keep reading more books and to read 40 books, because that will be a flex for me since I haven't been able to read that much these past few years because of school. So I'm really happy that I allowed my time to read this. But I think the main reason why I've been able to read this much, we're gonna give a special shout out to my Kindle. Without you, man, I wouldn't have read this much, because bringing books on the bus, they always get crumpled, so I stopped bringing them. So thank you. And thank you, Mom, for buying me a Kindle. So now for my year wrap up with what I've read so far throughout this year. So, fair warning, half of my books are probably in person, the other half are probably on my Kindle. So there'll be a lot of bloops going up. I say bloops. There'll be pictures of a book going up because I don't have it in person, and nor do I plan on buying it in person unless I fell in love with it. So, yeah. So, the first book I read this year, because I've been putting it off for way too long, is my co-author, my book buddy, Anya Clancy's book, How to Get Away with Evil. This was obviously a 5-star because I love her writing, and I love her, and obviously she writes great stuff, and I like reading her stuff because then we're each other's comment buddies. When I have little comments on her stuff, I'll tell her, and when she has comments on my stuff, she'll tell me. So it was nice to read her book. And like, am I gonna give her anything other than a 5-star? Fuck no. So 5-star read, obviously, no question, great way to start off the year. Then the second book I read was A Thousand Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. Why did I subject myself to starting this year with such a sad book? I honestly have no clue. But it was so gorgeous. so gorgeous. Like, it made me fall back in love with cello again, that for the entire month, all I listened to was cello music. So that was a 5-star read, and I absolutely love it. It's such an amazing romance. It's so beautiful. Zoomed through it, and really recommend. I want to buy it in person, even though when I buy it, I will want to cry when I see it in person, but that's okay. Okay, the next book I read, I have it in person. It's just not in this household, because it's at my dad's, and I'm not at my dad's, and I forgot to bring it with me. So it's the book that goes between these. It's the Atlas not Complex, this is the Complex, the Atlas Paradox, thank you. So the Atlas Paradox kind of squishes in between these two. I really liked it. It was really good. I gave that book I gave it a 4-star. It's a solid 4-star. I liked it better than the first one, that's for sure. I would probably change my rating for the first one and make it maybe like a 3 point something. But it's such an amazing series. I really love the scientific magical aspect that it goes to it. And it's really... Next, we have Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. That was such a good one. That was amazing. So that one, I gave maybe like a 4.5? 4.4? They loved it. The relationship was so good. I loved their banter. I love the scenes they have together. Like, it was so immersive. And it really brought me into the sport romance books. It's my first ever sports romance. Really loved it. Got me into sports romances. So thank you, Hannah Grace, for writing Icebreaker, because without you, probably wouldn't be into sports romances. Next, we have The Deal by Elle Kennedy. That one I gave a 4.2, I think, or just a 4. Yeah. So I gave it, I gave it a high 3 point something. Maybe a 3.6? I don't know. I gave it a 3 point something. That was really good. I really liked The Deal. I had trouble getting into Garrett a little bit at the beginning, but then I fell in love with him, and it was great. And yeah, that one also continued the progress of hockey romances and of me falling into it. Then I read probably was my most anticipated book of 2024 that I had been waiting for since I read its first. A sequel to the book that made me sob like a tiny little baby, if he had been with me, which is If Only I Told Her. So like, I opened the book and how it starts made me cry. So I started crying before I even was like 10% into this book. It was amazing. It was a 5-star. A lot of people were disappointed. I was not. I loved it. I love Finney. And I just cried so much. So yeah, I read a lot of books that made me cry this year, and I don't know why. I subject myself to these things. Next is a book I read for school. It's kind of hard to see what it is based on the half-dripped cover, because I got it very used. This is Charlotte's Web by Edie White. I had to read this for school because in my English class this year was children's literature. So I got to reread Charlotte's Web, which I have not read since I was a tiny little child. Next, we have my first French book of the year, Rose à la Machine. 5-star, I've already talked about this. Really loved it. Next, we have Legendborn. Legendborn got a 4.5. Was really good. Some aspects I didn't love as much, but overall, it was a really great book. I really loved the setting. It was a great pick for my video with Enya. Enya still has to read this. Hopefully this will be at her end of the year checklist that she'll have read, because I really want to show this video to you guys. But until she has read this, I cannot post the video. I've read them all. I've made my videos. She's made her video for the Secrets Never Die. She just has to read this and make me a video for it, and we're done, guys. That's all that's missing. So we're close. Next was probably my most disappointed read of the year, which was First Down by Grace Riley. I unfortunately really could not get into this book, which was very disappointing because I love football and it was my first football romance and I was really hoping to love it, and unfortunately it just didn't click with me. I couldn't fall in love with it. I just didn't love how the premise wasn't what it had intended to be, at least in my eyes. I'm sure other people love it, and it was still not extraordinarily horrible, but I gave it 2 stars because it was not the book for me. Next, where is it? Oh, next we have Restore Me. This is like I want to say it's a 5-star, but it's not a full 5-star. It's a 4.55, you know, because Ignite Me is a 5-star. This is a 4.55. It's just missing the little edge to get there. You know? Next was Powerless by Lauren Roberts. We've already talked about this. 5-star, absolutely amazing book. Next was Jamais Drôle by Christine Beaulieu. This was a 4-star. It was really amazing. It wasn't like I got distracted a bit because like Hydro-Quebec jargon isn't what I love, but it was still really well written. I still liked it in general. Next, I also don't have the book with me because it's at my dad's, which is the second one to the Inheritance Game series, The Hawthorne Legacy. Can we just talk about this book? Like, this. Wow. So this was a good solid 4.7. Close to being 5-star. Close. But there were some parts, just like Restore Me, that was a little boring. But I got so many more seeds with my Grayson and my Jameson, and like that's also a really good love triangle, but honestly I have a favorite for her and I have a favorite for myself. Like, she can be with Jameson all she wants. I'm taking Grayson for myself. I want him, so she can't have him. Okay, this was probably my second most like devastating book of this year, which was Secrets Never Die. Anya and I were by Vincent Ralph. Anya and I were so hyped about this book. We were so excited. We're like, this is gonna be such a good video. We're gonna read 2 good books. No. Like, I'm sorry. This was not for me. I didn't love the story. I found the plot line for me was a good idea, but I don't feel like it was well executed because I think that the way the mystery was done, like the different clues, were done in the wrong order for me personally, so it was not in the way that I loved, and I couldn't personally connect to any of the characters, which makes it very hard for me to fall in love with. I was expecting this thing, and it unfortunately wasn't what I expected, so I think that's kind of my own fault for having higher expectations than what the book was actually promising me to have. I think some people will absolutely love this, so they could try it out. It's personally just not for me. Next, we have Playing Hard to Get by Monica Murphy. This was the football romance that I needed and that I loved. It was really good. So this is the one I gave a 4.2 stars to. I really loved it. Knox is just so cute and lovable, and I just want to squish his little feet. And I really loved their relationship and the way that they started. And I think that this was a really good example of how you do tutoring into romance. Because next was I read Matthew Perry's book, Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing. So I don't rate books that are biographies because it is not in my right to judge how someone wrote about their own life. It's not fair to them. It's not fair to me to judge them based on how they wrote about it. So I really loved reading this. I read this so quickly. I kept coming back and I was like, Mom, did you know this? Mom, did you know this? Like, I learned so many things about him. And now when I rewatch Friends, I rewatch it with a very different set of eyes and a very new appreciation. Because Friends is really my comfort series. I don't know what I would do without Friends. Okay, next is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. So I forced myself, like, I've been wanting to read this book for a really long time, and I didn't because, I don't know, I was never in the mood for it. And I pushed myself to do it because I knew the series was coming out, and I was like, Gail, you have a month. You're reading it before the series comes out, because if not, like you're gonna not love the book as much because you'll have watched a series or something, or you're gonna have to push yourself to not watch another series. So I read it. It was a very enjoyable murder mystery. I don't love it as much as I love One of Us is Lying, but it was still really good. I gave it a 4-star. It's a really good murder mystery. I really recommend it. It was very easy to get through. I bought it on my Kindle, and I'm very happy I did so. Next, so I read the third book in the fourth. It's true, it's the fourth book. It's the fourth book in the Bridgerton series, Romanticizing Mr. Bridgerton. So this is Colin and Penelope's story. I gave it a 3 stars. I think that this was okay. Like, their scenes together is what was really adorable and what I really loved. It was very well written. But in the middle of it, I was like, it feels repetitive. It feels long. So it was okay. Next, I forgot to mention this in my 5 stars. Why would I feel so bad because it got hidden in all my stuff and I forgot that I read it this year. Okay, so in my 5 favorite books of this year, we got Daisy Jones and the Six. I finally read it, and this just confirms how much I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. She is such an amazing author. Like, after Rebecca Yarros, she is for sure my second favorite author. Her books are just so incredible. I love the way she writes, and her style is so different based on the different books that you're reading. Like, when it was, like, Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, the way that it's very much interview style, and then it goes into a full story that you're back in time, it's like flashback. And how then for Malibu Rising was very much the telling of different children, and it was it was much more of a personal, let me tell you how I feel thing. And then to this, do it like it's a documentary. Girl, how does she think of these things? Like, how can she do this? And she wrote songs. She wrote songs. Like, she literally wrote the songs. Now she thinks the song should play out. Excuse me. Like, this woman is a god. She's literally a god. It's just, it is Fleetwood Mac in a book, which is literally my favorite band of all time. So to have Fleetwood Mac in a book was just, I could go on a rant about this book for years, just like I could go on a rant about Fourth Wing for years. I can't believe I forgot to mention this. I just forgot that I read it this year. I feel like I've been reading this my entire life, how much I'm connected to it. Next, we have, there's too many books on my bed right now. Anatomy by Dana Schwartz. So this one I gave it 3 stars. This was good. I recommend it for anybody who likes gothic reading. It is definitely worth it. If you don't like reading about dead bodies and stuff like that, don't read it, because that's like the biggest trigger warning in this book. North Queen is my other huge 5-star book of this year. Absolutely loved. I've already talked about it way too much. I could continue talking about it for years, but yeah. Next, I read Second to the Right, the first book in the Neverland Chronicles, and can I say it? That is the most unhinged book I've read in my life. I gave it a 3 stars because it was so entertaining. So it's basically like a fan fiction that got published, but it's better than most fan fictions. It's just, it was so unhinged. Like, I kept texting Enya, and I was like, dude, you won't believe what just happened in this book. Yeah. And then lastly, my last book so far is Mile High by Liz Tom Ford. And this so far is my newest 5-star. Like, I might change it. I always put 5 stars, and if I don't stop thinking about it for a week, I know it's officially a 5-star. But if after a week I'm no longer thinking about it, that means it's a 4.5 or really close to a 5-star, but it's not a 5-star. So far I'm still thinking about it, but it's been 2 days since I finished this, so it's nothing so far. But I really love this. Like, Xander's and Stevie's relationship is just so fudging adorable. So I forgot to mention the 2 books that I DNF'd so far. So the first one is Foul Lady Fortune by Chloe Gong. I really want to get into it. Like, the storyline is so interesting. The cover is gorgeous. I have it in person, it's just not with me at the present moment. But it's so slow paced Like, it's such a good premise, and I really want to get into it, but it's taking forever for anything to develop, and I'm just there kind of like waiting for it, and I guess I wasn't in the right headspace for it. I was reading this during school year. I really needed something fast-paced that wasn't so slow-paced, because I felt like it was taking forever for me to get through the book, so I DNF'd it for now. It's definitely a book I want to try again, because it's not that it wasn't unenjoyable, it was just too slow for my current mood at the time. So it's definitely something I want to try again. I'm just not in that headspace right now. And the other one is Where It All Began by Sapphire Hale. That one was on my Kindle. Unfortunately, I will not be picking that book up again. I couldn't do it. Like, I couldn't read this book. Personally, for me, I read this book and I got slightly disgusted every time I was reading it because, well, first of all, the guy has a lip ring, and for me that is the biggest turnoff ever. So I already knew I couldn't get into this guy. I didn't know that going in that he had one, because it's such a good premise, like best friend's brother, and it's on a country ranch. So I was like, yeah, the lip ring is such a turnoff. Like, I couldn't get into it because of that. Like, I hate that that's one of the main reasons, but like, it disgusted me so much that I couldn't do it. I'm sure somebody else loves them. I really want to give Foul Lady Fortune another try, but if you're a person who loves Where It All Began, I'm so sorry. It's just not for me. I hope you can respect that. So, yeah. And now I can't wait to read the next ones. I need to read about Stevie's brother, Ryan, because I know it's going to be about him and Indy, and I just don't know what happens. So, yeah. So far, I'm very happy with all the books that I read. I'm very satisfied. So far, my reviews have been on the higher side and they've been on the lower side, because I read 6 5-star reads this year so far. So, like, that's crazy. Like, I can't believe I've read that many, because this was a 5-star. I'm absolutely certain it was, yeah. I read 6 5-star books this year. Like, I'm picking good books this year. Like, I'm so proud of myself. So, I'm really excited to continue reading, and I'll keep letting you guys know. I'm sorry for this incredibly long rant, but I gave you access to all the books that I've been reading so that you don't have to just scroll through my Goodreads and try to understand my reading process. Because I'll let you know. So much for watching. I hope you were entertained by me being chaotic with all my books. Here, let me show you guys how many books that are on my bed. So at the moment, got the big pile over here and then the pile over here. So yeah. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have an enjoyable reading, because I'm sure I will, especially since we're hopefully starting this today. Bye!